It's the Dubplate Special Master.
Live and direct.
Breakfast with CubCamTV.
Trickstar Radio.
What's happening, people? We are back inside the building once again. This is Breakfast with KXVU here on the big bad Trickstar Radio. I hope your mornings are going well and you're having a great start to the day, because we are jumping into one of our main events today. We're getting into a full live album review, something I want to be doing a lot more of here on the show. If you follow what I do on YouTube, I do tend to do a lot more sort of review and reactionary based content, and this is something I want to kind of bring to the breakfast show as well. So today we are going to be taking a closer look at Naira Marley's brand new God's Timing's the Best album project. Now, this one, it dropped last Monday. Already an unusual thing to see an album drop on a Monday, but why not, you know? If you're going to have loads of other albums dropping on the same day, we knew that Simi's album was dropping on the Friday, for instance. It makes sense to actually spread your releases out. I have no real issue with an album dropping on a Monday. It's quite a long-awaited project. There are tunes on here from the last couple of years, but I don't see that as an issue, to be honest with you. I quite like an album that is almost like a saga. It's a period of someone's life, and the lead up to it has been an interesting one, purely because a lot of the tracks we have heard off it prior to it landing have been in a similar kind of sound range. So actually diving into the album as a whole was quite interesting. I have got notes up in front of me just to make sure that we do get all the points across that I want to talk about. On a skim listen, the album feels somewhat samey, and again, that's a feeling that may have carried over from kind of previewing the album through all the singles that have landed prior. I think it's maybe 5 or 6 songs have been heard prior, so it's an interesting one to kind of look at from that angle. But when you actually dive into the depth of the project and listen to it in full, you do actually get some really cool variation. Lots of collaborations on here as well. All of which that make a lot of sense, I've got to say. Marcoon, Jada Kingdom, Zena Leesky, Mobad, and Basiswa all make their appearances, which I really, really like to see. But diving into the actual track listing is what we're going to be doing, so let's get right into it. We kick off with Joe Dada. Some really unique rhythmic arrangements on this one. Proper bouncy, full of kind of percussive drifts and redirections, and some stranger electronic melodies in there as well. It's an unusual approach to kind of kick things off with, but the fact it is quite an abstract recording definitely does add to the overall feel of the album. You feel like something's commencing when you hear this first tune. And then from here, we do dive into more fresh flavour from that. Happy then arrives for a super uplifting vocal approach featuring Marcoon. This one gives us another rhythmic masterclass. I love the percussion on this one, along with the mysterious melodic approach, and a ton of slap bass sounding action going on in the background as well. Really like this one. I know there are a few people that aren't that big a fan of this one, but for me, this was one of the tracks I did do a full reaction to prior, and I was actually quite impressed. I like the fact it was a little bit different more than anything else. However, the party then really gets started with Ayawada, a drum-fueled epic, this one. Pushing out a combination of catchy vocal riffs and tidy percussive kind of intricacies throughout the way the drums have been arranged. This out of the first 3 is my clear favourite, and it's the first time I've been unable to kind of keep myself sat still, which is one of the reasons I've been so drawn to Naira Marley recordings over the years. This is a great example of one of those tracks that is going to stick in my head for a long time. Next, a track I've been spinning a lot, and spinning on the radio a lot as well, Oh Done. Again, this is a track you can check out in full if you want to check out the full review on the channel. But again, it's a tune that I love to spin when DJing, and the whole track has such a lively feel to it, with calm, sliding synth melodies, giving both Naira and Zena Leesky, who does feature on the tune, a silky backdrop to run right upon. This is the first track on the album that I can't quite get enough of, so you can see the quality level rises as it goes. Dancehall heavyweight Jada Kingdom then arrives for a very vibrant collaboration, which sees Naira draw towards a kind of cruder side of lyricism, but still being able to maintain that sense of finesse in the actual vocal performance. It's a collaboration that for me makes a lot of sense, and Jada absolutely smashes her verse, and the vocal additions a lot slower and stuttered in the instrumental, but it's definitely one that works overall. Big fan of how this one sounds. Now, moving forward, we then get into the sounds of Montego Bay, which is a bit of a twist up from the usual Naira Marley style. You can hear my full review of this one again on the YouTube channel CubCamTV. But I have to say, I love how clean this one comes across. The fact Naira dives into a much more sort of 80s/90s style of arrangement on the instrumental shows a super melodic approach and something a little bit more outside the box from him, which I'm always keen to see. Lil Kesh then arrives, and he's the next one to arrive on the kind of super harmonic sounds, with another very exciting recording. And again, this one is wicked. It goes, it brings something different to the table. It goes by the name Melanin, much more harmonic, and the drum lines take quite a stripped back approach on this one, focusing primarily on the vocal harmony between Naira and Kesh. The intensity then begins to rise as we get into a collaboration with Kenza and Shiv, a very cool tune that goes by the name Drink Alcohol Like It's Water, a kind of creeping combination of eerie string-like plucks and shuffling drum textures. It's much more typically in sort of Naira Marley's range, and this one works really, really nicely obviously big fan of the way this one sounds overall. The horns then come out to play as MHD joins the parade on Excuse Moi, a track built for the dance floor and a track I could see being featured on a lot of adverts. It has that kind of metallic feel to it. Very epic, primarily due to the kind of drum-driven nature and the kind of beatly chord stabs. This one is a real favourite, especially when it comes to MHD's French verse. It just adds to the intensity of the overall project. Then 3 previously released tracks follow up as we get into the marching snare lines first Time in America First. Naira's more popular tracks over the last few years definitely include this. Next, onto the infamous sounds of Coming alongside Basiswa, a record I've seen turn dances upside down, and then rounding off proceedings with the carnival-fueled whistles and drum slaps of Koja Sese. Rounding off the project in a familiar territory, a very solid overall collection of works. Now, from what I've seen, there are people online that aren't particularly finding this one too innovative. They're not finding it too kind of outside the box. I would disagree. I think you have to sit down and listen to it in long play format to really appreciate what Naira does. There are definitely elements that could be improved. I think there are perhaps a couple of filler tracks on there. Modena Kai is definitely one on there that I feel, from my perspective at least, it's the kind of most fillery addition on there, but overall it's pretty consistent quality-wise from start to finish. Definitely enjoyed listening through it. I love the collaboration element on it as well. Some really well thought out collaborations from start to finish. But there we go. That is our full review of the brand new Naira Marley album. Let us know your thoughts, as always, at CubKXVU, at Trickstar Radio on the socials as well. We're going to jump into one of the tracks off the project next. This one, Naira Marley alongside Mobad. This one goes by the name Oh. It's on the Trickstar playlist right now, and I cannot wait to jump into it, people. So we're going to get into it right about now. We've also got some Rosca and Cersei on the way, so do keep it locked and don't go anywhere. Just coming up to around 7 minutes to 9 here. We're live on the Big Bad Trickstar Radio this morning.
This is Breakfast with KXVU, bringing you their morning flavours on Trickstar Radio.
Trickstar Radio.